Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. My name is Marko and today we are doing something different. I promised that I would do a video about my favorite Attack on Titan episodes after season 4 part 1. And I said this before, but ranking things is not really the thing I like the most, but it's something that people like to watch, I guess, so I decided to do it anyway. Ranking is especially hard when you are dealing with the show like Attack on Titan. I cannot describe you with words how hard was it for me to actually rank these episodes. At first I was like, I will do a top 5 of my favorite Attack on Titan episodes, and then I thought to myself, well, what about this episode? What about that episode? And I was like, I will do top 10, and I pretty much repeated the process twice and ended up with top 20 episodes. This video is going to be completely subjective and according to my feelings, so I would really like to see what you guys think as well. What are your favorite episodes? Before we start, I wanted to thank you guys one more time for your continued support. I really enjoy doing these videos for you, and I hope that these videos at least help a little bit to ease your pain by having to wait for the final part. I really appreciate each and every one of you. So without further ado, let's begin. Number 20, Season 2, Episode 2, I'm Home. Since episode number 3, I was always happy to see Sasha on the screen, but after this episode she won me over completely. I absolutely love Sasha. Episode 2 of Season 2 was amazing. The mysteries of early Season 2, with the Beast Titan appearing, people missing from Connie's village, no hole in the wall but there is a bunch of Titans, and the Battle of Utgard Castle later on. It was fantastic. Episode 2 began with the recap of one of the most gruesome deaths to this day, the death of Mike, humanity's second strongest. He was at the wrong place at the wrong time, nothing he could do, literally. Episode title I'm Home was referring to both Sasha and Connie. That scene with the Titan in the house munching on Kaya's mom's leg is also one of the most disturbing things we saw. Also, the fact that Sasha was fighting off Connie's dad is amazing writing by Isayama. In Sasha's flashback we saw that she is proud and ashamed of her cultural heritage at the same time. Met her father, Mr. Bros, who is a very wise man, and he basically explained to his daughter how the world works and made Sasha rethink her decisions. Connie's family and the rest of the village was turned into the Titans thanks to Zeke's gas, and those Titans from Ragako invaded Sasha's village. The people from her village actually had a chance to escape. Kaya was left behind with her mom, who had health problems with her legs. Frozen in fear, listening to her mom screaming so much that she lost her voice. Kaya was basically already given up on her life. But our beloved potato girl Sasha fought off the Titan with arrows and bare hands. That was the moment that Sasha showed us her big and brave heart. Number 19, Season 3, Episode 21, Attack Titan. After learning about the existence of civilization outside the walls, we get to the conversation between Grisha and Eren Kruger, who was known as an owl, the informant of Eldians inside of Marley's military. He was the man who witnessed his father being burned alive by Marley soldiers, which happened because they were trying to rebel against Marley. He was also the man who had the power of the Shingeki no Kyojin, or Attack Titan, which we learned about in this episode. He told us about the curse of Ymir, the name of Eren's Titan, and motivated Grisha to go inside the walls. All of that was explained through Eren Yeager, who was reliving those past memories. He's a really amazing character that Isayama implanted to the story perfectly. We also got to learn about the pets and how all subjects of Ymir are connected via those pets to a single coordinate that is the founding titan. Eren Kruger said Tatakae to Grisha, and we know that's the word that our Eren Yeager keeps repeating throughout the series. I will never forget how mind-fucked I was after seeing the ending of this episode, and Eren Kruger mentioning Mikasa and Armin. That was the episode that made me think that the pets and connection to the founding titan can transcend time, and that he was able to see the memories from the future. Absolutely crazy stuff. I have to mention Ymir's letter to Historia as well, man. That was very sad scene in which it was confirmed that Ymir is no more. When Historia touched the paper, we could actually see Ymir chained up in a place with similar background to the underground chapel where Rod Race transformed. Number 18, Season 3, Episode 22, The Other Side of the Wall. Episode 22 is the episode where news started spreading across the walls that Titans are actually humans of the same ancestry as them, the subjects of Ymir. Flock scolded Eren and the gang, and that's the episode where Flock truly started to be an interesting character. Eren saw more memories when he came in contact with Historia, and we were finally able to see what Grisha was saying to Frida and Ray's family, which could not be accepted, of course, thanks to the vow renouncing war, the will of the first king. That was the episode where we could feel that Eren is starting to change. Eren is basically alone. He is the only one that actually knows how bad things are for them. We got a time skip, and encounter with the Titan was different this time. For the first time, knowing that it's probably a fellow compatriot, as Grisha was saying. It was really a heavy episode. The sea scene was bittersweet. We know that ever since childhood, Eren and Armin shared the dream of seeing the ocean. Although their goal was the same, their motives were not. Armin was always curious about outside world, and for Eren, sea represented the freedom. It was a very wholesome to see smiles on Mikasa's and Armin's face, but at the same time, it was quite depressing. Armin reached the sea as the weapon of mass destruction with only 12 more years of life, and Eren encountered another wall blocking his way to freedom. The scene that was stuck in my mind was him pointing across the ocean and asking, if we kill all our enemies, will we finally be free? Number 17, Season 1, Episode 13, Primal Desire, Struggle for Trust, Part 9. I don't really know what the fandom thinks about this episode, but for me it was so freaking good. One of the best from Season 1 for sure. The OST Call Your Name playing while Eren was carrying the boulder towards the gate, and people dying left and right, laying their lives in order to protect Eren. Pixies gave this mission to 3 squads, led by Ian, Rico and Mitabi. We got to see a lot of people up until this episode asking why were they laying down their lives, asking if their sacrifice means something. And Eren was the reason they decided to go all out. He gave them a new hope which they never saw coming. Ian died protecting his comrade by pushing him away and sacrificing himself. I really liked his character. Mitabi's squad was completely destroyed and Rico was the only one alive. Rico and Mikasa took down Titan that was close to Eren, and we finally managed to seal the gate with Armin screaming, "Go Eren!" and crying tears of hope. After Eren left his Titan form, two more Titans appeared that wanted to attack Armin, Eren and Mikasa, and that is the moment when Levi stepped in an epic fashion and of course took down both of them with ease. That scene was so amazing and badass, with the wings of freedom soaring on his back. Later on, we unfortunately found out that Marko has died, and Jean was the one who found his body. That was very unexpected and sad. Also, we saw Annie apologizing to Marko, but at the time we didn't know what was she exactly thinking. Eren was later jailed, and Erwin and Levi came to Eren's cell to talk about whether he wants to join Survey Corps or go with the military police. Truly amazing episode. I suggest you guys go and rewatch it to see how amazing it is. Number 16, Season 4, Episode 8, Assassin's Bullet. This is the episode that made me struggle so much and think whether I should place it on the list or not. I like Sasha so much, and her death was something that was very painful to watch, but I still decided to place it on the list of my favorites just because how Isayama handled her character and her death. Seeing Gabi taking down that soldier named Lobo and taking his gear to board the airship was so unexpected to me. It goes to show how deep are the roots of her hatred towards Eldians from Paradise. Thank God that Falco was there to prevent more deaths, although they got beat up pretty badly by the Flox group. Jean made a good point and said, will the war ever stop if we toss these kids out of the airship? The domino effect that Sasha's death caused was huge. It was also indicator to us that Eren cares, that this new hobo Eren that killed bunch of people minutes before was only doing it because he thought it was necessary, and he still cares for his people and friends. Seeing Mikasa and Armin crying with Call Your Name OST in the back, oh man, it hits right in the feels. First part of the episode was of course dedicated to Gabi and Falco. Falco was trying his best to convince Gabi that she shouldn't go after them, but considering her family and how she grew up and what she just witnessed, it makes sense for her character to do something like that. But I am sure that Sasha's death was the trigger of the domino effect I mentioned earlier that will change Gabi's opinion, as we see later on with her coming in contact with Kaya and Mr. Bros. I really like how some of people from the comments on my video said that Connie lost his second half basically, and that's why he was crying from one eye. It really gives more poetic feeling to that scene. We also got to see finally that Zeke is in fact working with Eren and Survey Corps, and we saw Jean calling out Eren and blaming him for Sasha's death, which made Eren get very upset and feel regret. Sasha's death was also a symbol of change. Things are getting more dark, and it's like the show is telling us that there is no more room for these light-hearted feelings. Sasha's death hits hard. We will miss our beloved potato girl, but she will continue to live in everyone's heart, and her will is passed on to Kaya. Number 15, Season 1, Episode 17, Female Titan. For the humanity inside the walls, after the battle for trust, it was the first time that they recaptured the territory from the Titans, thanks to Eren who sealed the gate with a giant boulder. Although many people lost their lives during this mission, they finally managed to find a glimmer of hope. Things finally started to look a bit better. The future looked bright. Our squad officially joined Survey Corps, and then we get to the episode number 17. And Female Titan literally crushed every bit of hope we had. I will never forget that feeling when I watched this episode. The tension was through the roof. The mystery, the suspense. It was a whole another level of uneasiness and dread. Armin played a huge role in this episode as well. We got to see his quick thinking and immediate realization that it's a human-controlled Titan. He later on saved Jan as well by saying that Eren died. He figured out that she was after Eren. Honestly, I thought that episode number 17 was the episode where Armin is dying when I saw those scenes. And later on I thought the same about Reiner and Jean. To this day I still think that female Titan introduction is one of the best sequences of the show, with that intense OST and her effortless way of killing Sis and squad leader Ness. It was a truly scary sight. Number 14, Season 4, Episode 13, Children of the Forest. Ah yes, the restaurant episode, yet another example of Isayama's brilliance. We actually got to learn finally how things played out at Ragako village and how Zeke's power works. We also got confirmation that his spinal fluid was indeed in the wine that was served to the military higher-ups. AOT is doing a splendid job with their side characters. Heck, this episode was centered around 3 side characters, and it's one of the best episodes. Niccolo was amazing addition, and his love for Sasha was amazing. It's perfect that the cook is the one who fell in love with her. On the other hand, we have these poor kids Falco and Gabi trying to find a person from Marley to try and escape from Paradise. But Gabi's meeting with Niccolo was already doomed the moment they came in contact. Gabi started talking about how she killed Sasha and all that with the huge smile on her face, which got Niccolo very mad. One of my Japanese viewers explained to me that in the Japanese dialogue, the word for killing pests was used, so it makes even more sense that he wanted to smack her head with the wine bottle, I guess. And of course, Falco was the one who took shot for her and actually drank some of the spinal fluid. After getting punched, Gabi was taken to the room with the guests and brought to Mr. Bros. Not only that Mr. Bros didn't want to kill Gabi and avenge his daughter, he basically gave everyone a life lesson, because he knows that killing Gabi won't solve anything. We need to keep young ones out of the forest. The world is a giant forest. Perhaps Sasha wandered the forest for too long. He was acknowledging that Sasha was a soldier and that the risk of death was always present. He even asked Gabi if she is okay because she was bleeding, and Gabi's face in that moment was what the fuck. The scene that caught most of us off guard was Kaya running in with the knife. We know that Kaya is a really nice person, and I remember her saying to Falco that he doesn't need to be sorry because he never directly did anything wrong, right? Neither her mother nor Falco hold any personal responsibility or have a reason to be punished. But Gabi did directly inflict harm and killed Sasha. So under this logic, she does deserve to be punished. And considering her trauma from the past, it was no surprise to me that she reacted the way she did. But at the end, I think that Kaya is a smart girl and that she will be able to understand situation when she calms down. She is really no different than most of the characters in this show. Everyone had a traumatic experience. Sasha was her savior, a new light in her life. It would be same if someone killed Eren and Mikasa spending time with the person who killed Eren. Just imagine that. That's not possible at all. This episode had me on the edge of my seat. This show is so damn good, guys. Number 13, Season 3, Episode 11, Bystander. This episode is similar to Episode 10 of Season 3, called Friends, but I decided to place this one on the list because it's more important for understanding Eren's character. Eren remembered that the man he saw in his father's memories was Kit Shedis, the instructor of training corps we saw way back in early Season 1. He had quite a bit of information about Eren's dad and mother as well. He really liked Carla, Eren's mother. It's an episode about the man who was not special and how he is a mere bystander observing the special man Grisha Yeager and his life. This episode was very important for Eren's character's development. Eren had the opportunity to experience the part of his mother that he could never know, thanks to the kid's words. The words being that we are all special for just being born into this world. It's very important as it bases Eren's vision on his desire for freedom and to go beyond the walls. And it was necessary for him to regain his confidence after all the trauma and confusion he had to go through. Kit found Grisha 20 years ago when he was wandering outside of Val Maria with absolutely no memories of who he was, like he had amnesia. Kit basically took Grisha inside the walls and helped him build his new life. The only thing he remembered was that he was a doctor, and Kit introduced him to the hospital where Grisha later on helped a lot of people. Kit Shedis was trying his best to be the special person, the person who will bring the change. He was the commander of Survey Corps. He wanted to be acknowledged by the ones he cared and loved the most. But the woman he liked, Carla, ended up with Grisha. And there is that scene where they were all cheering Kit for becoming the commander of Survey Corps, and the scene transitions into Carla and Grisha's wedding and Kit just standing there and watching. After seeing Grisha save so many people, including Carla, Kit felt powerless, and in the end he screams and yells to Carla. Carla's words were like a motivation. It's fine if he isn't special. He doesn't have to be better than anyone else. He is already special because he is born into this world. And that was something that Eren needed so much after the events in Underground Chapel. It was his mother's message that he never got. And we actually find out that Eren's equipment during the ODM gear training was faulty because Kit Shadis messed it up. Most likely because he wanted Carla's words to be true and for Eren to live a normal life. He didn't want Eren to go and follow his father's path. But in the end, he couldn't change anything. And after that episode, we finally found out the words from episode number 3 when Kit said, "Grisha, today your son has become a soldier." We finally found out the meaning to those words from episode number 3, season 1. Number 12, season 2, episode 12. Scream. Oh man, where do I begin with this one? The battle for retrieving Eren against Reiner, Bertolt and bunch of titans. In episode 11, we saw Commander Smith lose his arm, but he didn't hesitate one bit. He ordered his soldiers to continue the mission and rescue Eren. The scene with Historia and Ymir was so godly when she said to Ymir that they need to stop living for the others, to live for themselves, that she is not afraid when she is with Ymir, and the Barricades OST kicked in. It was so good, an absolute joy to watch. Historia is even killing the Titans majestically. That's also one of my favorite scenes. However, situation turned from bad to worse, and it literally felt like they are in hell, and that all of them are dying right then and there. Armin was trying to protect unconscious Jean. Irvin was sitting on the ground powerless after he lost his limb, watching soldiers dying in front of him. Eren and Mikasa were attacked by the smiling titan, and Hannes stepped in to protect them. It was such a poetic episode. It's even crazier now, because we know that it's Dinah Fritz, Grisha's first wife. Hannes wanted a redemption for not being able to save Carla, but it seems like he made the right decision that day by running away with Eren and Mikasa. Eren was not fully regenerated and wasn't able to transform, which completely broke him, and we have to give props to Yuki Kaji for being such an amazing voice actor. Just like all of the other voice actors in this show, man, they are goats. Seeing Hannes die was kinda foreshadowed few episodes before, but that doesn't change the fact that it was very heartbreaking. I am going to miss that drunk fool, he was so likable. I saw a lot of people saying that Eren rejected Mikasa, and I think that's completely wrong. Mikasa confessed her feelings to Eren because she thought they were both about to die. But Eren believed that they weren't about to die, and he showed his feelings by protecting her instead, and saying, "I'll wrap that scarf around you as many times as you wish." In that situation, kissing each other would guarantee their deaths. The punch on the Dinah's palm was so confusing to me when I first watched it, but the happiness I felt in that moment was so great. Seeing Titans obeying Eren and Reiner saying that coordinate fell into the worst hands possible felt so freaking good to me at that moment. We learned what actually happened in that scene when we got info about the royal blood. Another amazing scene was when soldiers started backing off, and we see Ymir parting ways with Historia and going to help Reiner and Bertolt. We see Eren with disbelief in his eyes, remembering the good old times with Hannes, with that amazing OST. It was so emotional. Episode ended with poor Connie talking to Survey Corps about his mom and Irvin smiling despite Levi being so pissed and mentioning that they were flying around killing people all this time. Irvin says that we are one step closer to the truth, and we see Zeke outside of his Titan form for the first time. I think that was one of the best ending scenes in AOT for sure. Number 11, Season 4, Episode 3, The Door of Hope. The episode we have all been waiting for. I was always interested about Reiner and Bertolt's hometown, especially after Season 2, Episode 6, because of reasons. This is the episode where we finally got to see Season 1 events from the warrior's perspective. We learned that there is no good or bad, just people being victims of the cruel world who are fighting for their own families and freedom. Reiner's motive was to become a honorary Marlian so that he can be with his father, which backfired, because he has Eldian blood in him and his father doesn't want him. Despite being the student with lowest grades, 6 people were chosen out of 7. He still became a warrior because Marcel influenced the decision that his brother Porco should not inherit the armored titan, and that Reiner is more suited for it. Reiner found out that just before Ymir came out of the ground when they went to Paradise. When Ymir in her Titan form tried to eat him, Marcel pushed him out of the way, and that's how he saved Reiner's life, by sacrificing himself. I always pictured Marcel as a very good dude, and he really is. He also most likely felt really guilty of what he has done, and that's one of the reasons he wanted to protect Reiner. Later on we get to that scene where Reiner and Annie were arguing, and poor Bertolt was just standing there, powerless, listening to them, begging them to stop, and probably thinking how bad things are for them and that they shouldn't be fighting right now. The scene of Annie kicking Reiner's bloody head is still haunting my dreams. She didn't want to continue the mission without Marcel and wanted to go back to Marley. Reiner decided to push on and continue the mission. That's the day he became New Marcel, and all Reiner was locked deep within his heart. The big brother figure we knew from season 1, the soldier, was really Reiner trying to be like Marcel, and hence why Porco was saying to Reiner in episode 2 of season 4 that he was pretending to be his brother. The scene when Reiner was remembering Eren and how he encouraged Eren to keep moving forward after Eren asked him how does he manage to do it. Those transitions to the gun and back and forth with that scene of them being bros was really depressing. It came to the point that Reiner could no longer take it anymore and he was trying to end his own life. Falco saved his life by hitting the wall of the place where Reiner was. He made him remember that there is still something that's worth fighting for, and later on we see Falco talking with Eren. He gave Reiner reason to live, and he showed Eren there are good people in Marley as well. The concept of a good person is well explained in season 1 when Armin was talking with Annie in Stoches. The good person is someone beneficial to you, but that doesn't mean the person can be bad to someone else, and that nobody is a good person to everyone. Eren's speech perfectly depicted his state of mind. What did we find in the basement? Was it hope or was it despair? Based on his conversation with Falco, it sounds like Eren still hasn't found the answer to this question, and that he will keep on moving forward through the hell until he comes out to another side and finds the answer he is looking for, which is either hope or even the greater hell. Number 10, Season 2, Episode 6, Warrior. Okay, this is the part where I had the most trouble deciding ranking for number 10 to number 5. Season 2 was full of mysteries, but full of the reveals as well. After hellish battle at Utgard Castle, mess with Connie's village, Ymir's reveal, Historia's true identity, we finally had a chance to breathe in for a second and think about everything, just like Eren said, as if he didn't have to think enough about yesterday already. This has to be one of the most casual reveals ever in any piece of media, but it was done so freaking well. Reiner's speech was a proof to me that he regrets his actions and that there is a lot going on that we don't know about. Also, Bertolt being a colossal was a big what the fuck moment for me as well, because he didn't really have that much screen time, at least not as much as Reiner. Looking back at it now, I wouldn't like it to be anyone else than Bert. I really liked his character more as the story progressed. This episode was truly shocking and it was so hard to collect thoughts after watching it. It was a really depressing episode when you think about it. I actually felt betrayed in real life, that's how impactful it was. Seeing Mikasa step in to try and cut them down, Bertolt being shocked and on the verge of crying, it felt so unreal, and then they transformed and I was like, damn, they really are titans. Like, I didn't want to believe it until I saw it. Also, Bert's look in his eyes when Reiner was speaking, poor dude, bro. Eren was broken completely. He recently dealt with any situation, and we know how hard it was for him to acknowledge that she is a Titan. Eren is a great friend, but after dedicating his life to try and get rid of the Titans, he suddenly sees a bunch of his friends being that very creatures he wants to destroy. It was too much to take in considering all the shit he went through up until this episode as well. And I felt so sad for Eren during this episode. To think that they were by his side for years, sleeping and eating under the same roof, that really sucks. If anyone had doubts about Attack on Titan after Season 1, if there even is anyone like that, I think Season 2 made sure to kill those doubts and made everyone fall in love with this show for good. Number 9, Season 3, Episode 20, That Day. I think it's okay to say that this one is the most important episode of Attack on Titan. It gave viewers answers to many questions we had from the beginning of the series. I felt like this episode lasted only 5 minutes, but it was so packed with information. It literally flew by. I had to rewatch this episode few more times to make sure I don't miss anything. Not only that, we found out that there is a whole civilization outside the walls. We found out that they are technologically more advanced, and of course, that Marley is the country who are sending Eldians to rebel against them to Paradise. That is an island of Paradise. Seeing young Grisha with his sister Faye and them wearing armbands and getting racist comments was enough to wake this weird gut feeling inside of me, feeling of uneasiness. I immediately remembered dark parts of our history which Isayama clearly took inspiration from. Young Grisha reminded me of Eren because of his curiosity. It screwed me up even more that they were using Eldians to kill the Eldians inside of the walls. I immediately thought of Annie, Rainer and Bird, and I was like, bro, they're Eldians as well. We got to learn 2 different versions of Eldian history. The Marley one, in which they explain that Eldians used power of the Titans, which was achieved by Ymir Fritz, after supposedly making a deal with the devil. For more than 1,700 years, Eldians oppressed Marley and other countries. They murdered them, raped them, and all other gross stuff. Speaking of gross, I don't want to use too much time on this trash after what he did to poor Faye. I can't think of him as a human. He was trying to send some kind of message that humans are beings who likes to watch violence as long as themselves or their families were not involved. I say screw that guy. The other history was the one Grisha brought up, saying that Ymir cultivated the lands, built the roads and bridges, but it was only Grisha's guesses. He wasn't able to decipher the ancient language. The reveal of Dinah being the smiling titan is another candidate for one of the most shocking reveals in this show. The fact that she came to Eren twice on Paradise and her words to Grisha before she transformed. No matter what form I take, I promise I will find you. Phenomenal writing by Isayama. And also the episode when we learned that Zeke was the son of Grisha and that he has royal blood thanks to Dinah. We also got the reveal that Kruger was the Owl and it was the same guy who beat up Grisha at the beginning of the episode when they were going through the gate to see the blimp. His reveal of being Attack Titan was so well done as well. What a great episode. Number 8, Season 4, Episode 6, The Warhammer Titan. Right after Willy Tiber declares the war on Paradise, Eren Yeager transforms and the attack on Marley begins. Willy Tiber said his goodbye to family And in his conversation with Theo Megget, we could see that he was ready to die, and he knew that attack would happen. They purposely made the stage in Liberia, and Willy was ready to sacrifice Eldian people and incompetent military members, as he said. And then the chaos begins. Eren kills Willy and eats him, and he starts going on rampage. That was one of the most brutal episodes for sure. I can't even describe how I felt while watching it. Seeing Zofia getting crushed and Udo trampled on with Gabi's screams was really terrifying. Not long after that we get to see who is the Warhammer Titan. It was Lara Tiber, Willy's sister. It was awesome as well that we got to see how different our squad looks because it has been 3 years. During Lara's transformation, Eren started with the attack and he was punching the shit out of that Titan's skull, but she still managed to fully transform thanks to Warhammer Titan powers. Also, it's coolest looking Titan with amazing abilities, and the way she spoke was really scary as well. While I was watching this episode more and more, I knew it's gonna be one of my favorites for sure. When I heard ODM gear sounds about Pig and Porco, I felt so much joy, but at the same time, I was like, I hope they don't kill Pig, Falco and the others. It was such a conflicting episode, but the entrances of our beloved Ackermans, Mikasa and Levi were so amazing. I screamed like a little kid. Mikasa coming in with the thunder spears and with the sad look in her eyes, begging Eren to come home. That was very sad moment, especially when Mikasa brought up that he killed innocent children and civilians. After Eren found out that Lara is actually controlling the Warhammer from a distance, he found her body crystallized and disabled the Warhammer Titan, literally. Porco sneaked in from behind and tried getting Eren's neck, but that's where Levi shows up. Of course with the old ODM gear, and slices Porco's jaw. Porco was actually mind-boggled about people wanting to attack Titan, and it was so amazing. Also, the last shot when he said, "These are the devils of the paradise," with soldiers flying around and Levi closing in. Oh man, what an episode. Number 7, Season 4, Episode 14, Savagery. Savagery is the perfect title for this episode. Eren's hurtful words to his best friends, Eren beating up Armin, Zeke turning Levi soldiers into Titans, Levi killing off his comrades and fighting with Zeke, and later on torturing him, Flock making cadets beat up Keith. There was savagery everywhere you look. We begin with Eren's talk with his friends. Armin and Mikasa were trying to reason with him. Eren begins his speech to them by saying that he is free. To prove this, he tries to contrast himself with his friends, and he calls them slaves. Armin, who supposedly inherited Bertolt's love for Annie and Mikasa's Ackerman lineage, which makes her serve the person who she deems the most important in her life. But it was originally meant to serve the royal family, right, the founding titan. I was told that in the manga it was explained that when Ackermans have that awakening, that they actually get the battle experience of all previous Ackermans. The irony is that Eren said that he hates slaves, while he himself is a slave to freedom, because Kenny's words apply literally to everyone. To see Eren beating up Armin like that was quite devastating, especially when you consider how he always protected him when they were children, bro. It was a really tough scene to watch. It was really the GOAT in this episode as well. He purposely provoked the scouts to beat him up in order to save them from whatever the heck Flock intended to do if they didn't obey his command. When it comes to Levi, I talked about it a lot during my reaction to this episode. We know that he is the strongest human. He is unable to save anyone dear to him. He lost Irvin, he lost Levi's squad with Petra and everyone else. He lost many soldiers, he lost his mother, he lost his best friends Isabel and Farlan. And it's ironic that he needs to kill off his comrades in the forest of the giant trees where Levi's squad died. Number 6, Season 4, Episode 15, Soul Salvation. Right after Savagery, we get to the Zeke's backstory and we finally learn what Zeke exactly wants. He was the biggest enigma for me personally, and I was never able to read his intentions. As Pig said, he only felt genuine when he was talking to Eren back in the Battle of Shiganshina. Zeke was a child with no childhood. He had parents, but it felt like he didn't have parents. A single episode that launched Zeke so high in my eyes. We also saw Grisha Yeager in a completely different light. Grisha's life is tragedy as well, and I understand what he wanted to achieve, but there is no excuse for not seeing your child as a child, but more as a tool which you can use to achieve your own goals. It was so sad seeing Zeke repeating what his father taught him and what his grandparents taught him as well. He had to learn both sides and was forced to go into military training to become a warrior, despite him not wanting to do it. He still gave all he can for his parents, only for Grisha to look at him with despise and to turn his back on him. Even when he had a free time to play with his father, he forced him to learn more. I really understood Grisha's position and what he wants to achieve, but all Zeke needed was a love and balance between his training and normal child activities. Tom Xaver was the light in Zeke's life, and thanks to him, Zeke and his grandparents are alive today. He was the previous holder of the Beast Titan, and he was a part of Titan research team. He didn't participate in wars, he was interested to learn as much as he can about Eldians and Titans. In his youth, he removed Armbed and made family with a woman from Marley, and they had a son. When his wife found out the truth that he was an Eldian, she killed their son and then herself. That had me so freaking sad. That pain must be unbearable. That's why he decided to become a Beast Titan and end his life with the curse of Ymir. His words, "If only I haven't been born into this world," were so heartbreaking. Those words fueled Zeke and gave him strength to continue and think of euthanasia plan. They were talking previously how it's possible to change anatomy of Eldian people thanks to the founding Titan. And also it's a perfect contrast to Carla's world. I'm special because I was born into this world. And those words helped Eren and motivated him to push on as well. I think it's pretty clear that their ideologies are totally opposite and that Eren is using Zeke. As one of my comments on my videos stated, "Congratulations, Isayama, you did the impossible. You made us like the man who killed Irvin." What the fuck? During the episode 14, Savagery and Zeke's line, "Where are my glasses?" hold a whole new meaning right now. Tom Xaver is the person he acknowledged as his father. Number 5, Season 4, Episode 7, Assault. After the Warhammer Titan episode, we continue with this madness. Eren was freaking savage in this episode. These kind of episodes are when the hype levels go through the roof. Right when Levi and the others arrived, Pig shows up with her helmet of death basically. It was a weapon Survey Corps are not used to fight against for sure, and they managed to take down few soldiers with it. Zeke also appears in his Titan form, and throughout this episode he was sus as hell, man. Especially the part when he said, "You're running out of time, Levi," as Levi was checking out his pocket watch. They even faked Zeke's death in front of Maggot, Falco and Gabi, with Levi supposedly blowing Zeke up. Of course, the show continued to be very hard to watch due to the conflicting feelings, and seeing Pig blown up, man. I didn't know I would feel that bad, to be honest. Before that, Peak was saying that they were gaining the control and advantage and that reinforcements were coming from the sea. That didn't last too long because Armin entered the game and completely wiped out reinforcements and half of the freaking city. Armin probably felt so bad and he was mentioning Bertolt and asking if he saw the same scenes as him. Really heartbreaking stuff, but I guess he didn't have much choice. Sasha and Jean took out Peak and Panzer unit, and when I saw Jean going in to finish Peak and Falco stepped up, I was terrified. I didn't want Jean to hesitate because he went through this once before, but I didn't want Falco to fucking die. So the conclusion to that scene was extremely satisfying for me. But what about my man Eren? He completely mastered these Titan transformations. He can do it for days. The way they portrayed him in this episode was like he is some sort of demon. Especially that shot while holding up Porco with Lara in his mouth. He disassembled Porco's arm and Mikasa cut off his legs, so Eren was literally using him like a nutcracker to break the crystal because he saw that his bones can actually damage the crystal. Eren attained his third Titan power, the coolest one in my books, the Warhammer Titan. He was getting ready to consume Porco as well, but then Gabi started calling for Reiner's help. That was amazing. No matter how you look at it, seeing Gabi and Falco screaming for help and Reiner saying, "Why don't you just leave me to die?" was so touching and it made me so emotional, even though they're supposed to be enemies. That's the power of Attack on Titan. It shows how complex things actually are. It's a battle for survival. Everyone is motivated by grief and revenge. Marley's government did not learn anything from their past. They're just repeating the process and they're using these poor Eldians from Liberia as weapons to oppress and conquer other nations. I hope that Eren manages to find an answer to all of this mess. Number 4, Season 3, Episode 18, Midnight Sun. After Perfect Game and Hero episodes, where Irvin and Armin sacrifice themselves, we get to the episode number 18, Midnight Sun. You would think after last episode they couldn't mess with our emotions anymore, and then Isayama pulls this off. I was literally preparing mentally to watch it and expected it to be sad as fuck, and it was, but what I wasn't expecting was that both Irvin and Armin were still alive, on the verge of death, but thanks to syringe Kenny gave to Levi, we had a chance to save one of them. I kid you not, I never experienced something like this in any show, that I have absolutely no idea who to choose and no matter who I pick I would still feel like a piece of shit. It was especially tough because Irvin, Levi and Armin are literally my favorite characters. The voice acting of Yuki Kaji in this episode was unparalleled in my opinion. And I think it's important to know that Levi didn't choose Armin to live, he chose Irvin to die and be released of the burden. I really like the decision to put only 2 OSTs throughout whole episode. Armin always preferred safer plans unlike Irvin's gambles. And he is aware that many people lost their lives thanks to his decisions, and he did regret that in the end. Seeing Mikasa and Eren break down in tears was one of the most heartbreaking moments in the whole show. We have to mention the last segment of the episode as well. When Bertolt woke up for a second he saw Eren and the others, and it appears that he smiled. He remembered their friendship and forgot that they're actually his enemies now. When he realized that, he started calling for help, calling Reiner's and Annie's name. And later on, seeing Armin back in his human form, surrounded by his friends who were crying, followed with that amazing OST, was a really great scene. It felt quite religious, like the second birth. Really amazing episode. Number 3, Season 4, Episode 5, declaration of war. Okay, we are at top 3 now, and you probably have an idea what other 2 episodes are, but the direction of this episode and just the idea of Reiner and Eren talking while Willy is giving his speech is so freaking good. Bertolt always thought about the man who hanged himself and was wondering why did he told them that story about his kids, and he said that perhaps he wanted to be judged by someone before he dies. Both Eren and Reiner also wanted to be judged. You can see in episode 3 of season 4, Reiner helped him to get on his feet, and here also Eren helped Reiner likewise. Reiner finally finds someone who can understand his feelings. Eren actually helped Reiner to ease up some of his guilt by this confession. But it's just as Eren says, they are both the same. They are both product of their ancestry and life circumstances. Poor Falco realized that he was helping the enemies all this time, but he was also shocked to see the devil of Paradise asking Reiner why his mother had to die. And we know how kind-hearted Falco is, so of course he was going to sympathize with the people from Paradise. When Eren said that he came for the same reason as Reiner, the look in Reiner's eyes, the fear, the regret, he was so anxious and it was unbearable for his already broken soul. The tension throughout the episode was insane. It's like we know that something is about to happen. Then we slowly see the beginning of the action. Yelena luring in Pieck and Porco to the trap. But Pieck is so goddamn smart and she said to Panzer unit to follow them. Reiner was definitely caught off guard by Eren's words and feelings. It was different because Reiner was a kid and Eren is an adult. He knows the truth and he is still determined to do what he needs to do. Eren has embraced the monster, and of course not because he wants to do it, but out of necessity. Marley made Eren into that monster, so it shouldn't be surprised that it was only a matter of time. Willy's speech was really important as well. We finally got to learn what actually happened when the King Fritz fled to Paradise. He made a deal with Tiber family to fabricate the history and made this fake Marleyan hero Hellos. Willy was talking about how horrible Eldians were in the past and that they eradicated everyone and started fighting among themselves in Great Titan War. He brought up the tens of millions of Titans inside of the walls and their threat and how that's the reason that they sent warriors to Paradise, even though King Fritz really didn't want to use the rumbling, because he thought Eldian's sins were too grave and he wanted to accept the fate. And the vow renouncing war was passed on to every next founding Titan holder, and King's will was impossible to resist. The threat is now real because the person who has the founding Titan is Eren and he is not manipulated by the ideology of the first king. Marley made Eren into this monster that they are portraying him to be. He was announcing the Eren as the enemy of humanity and he's basically trying to unite the world against Paradise, even though they're the ones responsible for it. They want resources and the founding Titan, and by allying with the rest of the world, they won't have to fight with other nations who were advancing fast with their anti-Titan weapons. It was clear that Eren's motive was no longer revenge. He even said to Reiner to forget about that and that he understands him. He knows that they are the same, they are good and bad people on the both sides. But to Eren they were the bad guys. He knows that they got drilled the hatred into them from early ages, but Eren is the type of person who won't sit back. He will fight back no matter how many opponents there are, just like Hannes described in Season 2 Episode 8. Eren will do anything for his friends and he will continue to be persistent even if he doesn't win. That's who Eren is. The scene where Willy said that he doesn't want to die as Reiner is begging Eren to kill him was so well done as well. And the only time Eren seems surprised in this whole episode is when Willy Tiber says, "And this is because I was born into this world." The episode ends with Willy declaring the war on Paradise and Eren shaking hands with Reiner, stating that he will keep moving forward until he crushes his enemies. That's probably the fastest response to the declaration of war ever, and Willy was dead in a second. Eren ate him just in case he was the Warhammer Titan, and the chaos began. Number 2, Season 3, Episode 17, Hero. One of the best rated TV episodes on IMDb. Hero. I'm sure that good amount of people will say that this is the best episode, and I don't blame them. There were so many heroes this episode. Erwin leading the charge. All the soldiers following him are heroes as well. Levi taking down the Beast Titan. Hanji coming in to help in the battle. Mikasa finishing off Reiner. Eren taking down Colossal in his human form. And Armin, who made that possible. He was the bravest of them all, just like Eren said. To me, it felt unreal to see deaths back to back of two such major characters. And on top of that, my favorites. I never enjoyed the show so much as I did watching AOT, and it was very heartbreaking. Both Armin and Erwin tossing their dreams aside for humanity. Armin noticed that Colossal Titan muscle tissue burns out when he is using the steam, so he decided to sacrifice himself and try to withstand the heat as much as possible so that Eren can take him out. He got burned alive. Armin was saying that he wasn't a hero before this plan and that he will back off if it becomes too dangerous. We all know that was a lie. He was ready to go until the end to make this work. He was trying to motivate Eren not to hesitate and to stick to the plan. That scene when he was saying that he's entrusting Eren his dream, his life, and everything, that he will get to the ocean for him, always makes me emotional just thinking about it. So much happened in this episode, and just after that they show us the flashback of Armin crying and saying to Eren that he didn't lose to those bullies. I don't lose because I don't run. And that's exactly what happened in this fight against Bertolt. He didn't want to run, and he secured victory for us. And it's very poetic that Eren got the kill on the Colossal Titan in his human form. It reminded me of the scene from episode 5 of season 1, wherein he snuck up to Colossal Titan from behind, trying to get his neck. The first half of episode was dedicated to Levi demolishing Zeke and his Beast Titan. Levi was of course full of resolve, and he took down Monkey. It was probably the most hype moment of the whole series. Our spinning Ackerman made some Titan sushi, but Peak was so clutch for the warriors, saving both Zeke and Reiner. Props to our squad who got Reiner as well. Mikasa, Hanji, Jean, Sasha and Connie. We thought that Hanji died, so it was quite a pleasant surprise that she showed up, and it's all thanks to our boy Moblit. Rest in peace, Moblit. Zeke remembered Reiner and Bertolt, warning him about Levi, but no matter what they said, he could never tell what's coming to him. This episode also felt like a finale to the Attack on Titan we knew so far, because after the basement things changed completely. Number 1, Season 3, Episode 16, Perfect Game. Another one of the best rated AOT episodes alongside Midnight Sun and Hero. After episode 15 with Bertolt's transformation and Reiner waking up, things started to look really bad, and at the time I had no idea how do we get out of it. Episode 16 made things even worse. Beast Titan started throwing huge amounts of rocks and just killing all the Survey Corps soldiers. He was basically leveling the houses. Anime made this extra disturbing by showing us the bloody bodies flying around. I personally never experienced something like this. I honestly felt like I was a part of them and I felt desperate. It felt like the doomsday. The atmosphere was so dark and you could hear the bell ringing because some of the rocks hit the bell. Colossal Titan was closing in from one side and Beast Titan from another. Levi was thinking that they should abandon the mission. He said to Erwin to wake up Eren and flee on him with many people as possible. We saw soldiers breaking down and Flock was the one who said that there is no point protecting the horses if there isn't anyone to ride them. He started regretting his decision to join Survey Corps and said that his death would be meaningless. Erwin was always a very fascinating character for me to follow. He was always gazing upon something further beyond what we saw. He was a great leader. Erwin confirmed what Levi was talking about, how they doubt that anyone will survive this. But that is if there is no chance for counterattack. Levi was quite shocked to hear that, but that plan comes with a huge price. Life of all the soldiers and his own life. The bond between Levi and Erwin is something really special. In No Regrets OVA, Erwin says to Levi, if you begin to regret, you will dull your future decisions and let others make a choice for you. All that's left for you then is to die. Nobody can foretell the outcome. Each decision you make holds meaning only by affecting your next decision. Erwin thinks of all his fallen comrades and what became of the hearts they gave. He starts having regrets and lets Levi make the final decision for him. Give up on your dream and die. Lead recruits straight to hell. I'll take down the Beast Titan. The piano OST was the perfect choice for this scene. No matter how many times I watch it, it gets me so emotional. Truly beautiful show. Erwin was at the doorstep of his dream. His dream was aligned with what's best for humanity all this time. And when the time came to choose one, he was selfless and his choice was humanity. After Levi's words, he was surprised. He was reflecting on everything and then he smiled. He felt relief. Even if that relief means death, he was finally free of the burden. His speech to the soldiers was also something really special for me. Not only for war, but in our lives as well. Everything we do is for someone else who will come after us. And it doesn't matter how our life is. All the time since season 1, we saw a lot of people bringing up the world is cruel line to justify all kinds of terrible actions. In episode number 15, we saw Bertolt saying the world is cruel. Although world might be cruel, but as Erwin says, it doesn't matter what happens in your life. Even if your life is cut short, even if you are powerless to change your situation, even if the universe throws literal rocks at you, you have the power to change one thing yourself. His line, this is the sole method by which we can rebel against this cruel world. He knows who he is and his inner strength is what allows him to push on through the darkness. And this is why people follow him to their deaths. He doesn't use cruelty of the world as an excuse to give up hope or be a terrible person. Instead, he looked at it directly in the face and literally charged forward. My soldiers rage, my soldiers scream, my soldiers fight. I hope that you guys enjoyed the video. I'm still pretty much confused about the rankings and which episode should be higher up, so don't take it too seriously, please. I would like to know your favorite episodes. Final part should be up in 2 weeks. The hype is real, guys, can't wait. I want to thank you once again for watching my videos. I really appreciate it. And yeah, Merry Christmas to everyone celebrating. I wish you all the best to you and your families. That's all for today's video. I will be seeing you guys very soon with another one. Until then, take care and have a nice day. See ya, guys.